Hi everyone and welcome to my new video. In this one I am sketching expressions, doing expression studies. I do them fairly regularly just to make sure that I am, getting practice for one anyway, but also it's a good way just to somewhat remember how your facial muscles work when you're doing different expressions. So I decided after the Screen Actors Guild Awards that Winona Ryder presents the most perfect opportunity to do these studies, because there are a lot of expressions that she was showing. It's quite interesting. I didn't really laugh at it as such. I was just more interested. It was just like, wow, there's quite a range of emotions there. So I definitely wanted to sketch her, and it was more a case of not trying to get her resemblance, like trying to make these studies look exactly like her, but more just trying to make sure that I captured the expressions as accurately as I could. So yeah, I picked some of the first ones that I found. I actually found a meme, which is terrible, but on the right here you can see it's a calendar, and I didn't really want to show the whole thing, but because I didn't really want to make fun of her over it. But yeah, it was just a handy calendar put together of all her expressions, so I used that. And yeah, so I'm just gonna let the video kind of speed through, because I also want to talk about speed paints. So I've had quite a lot of people actually asking me on Instagram how I approach my speed paints or my digital portraits, and it's quite difficult to explain because I'm kind of always changing my method, so there's no one way that I ever actually do it. I try different things just to see what works for me, and to see if I can become more efficient with my time, because the whole point of a speed paint is to do them quickly, and they're generally just for practice anyway, so you don't want to spend too much time on them. You don't want to be over rendering or nitpicking at things. You just want to just get the picture done, basically, and that's what I was doing with these. So I guess I can explain with one of these. I'll slow it down a little bit. It'll probably double the speed, because otherwise this video will be too long, but I will go through my process for one of these expressions. And I actually did try out different methods for all of these, so I can't go through all of them because it would take too long, but I will go through one of the methods I used. And I mean, all my techniques are similar, so it should work across the board anyway. So when I go through explaining this, it could be helpful. I mean, I hope so. I hope it's helpful to people, and to be able to see it as well visually while I explain what I'm doing. So yeah, we'll try that. Okay, so we can see here that I have already got the sketch done, and I put down a base tone layer just to have that all ready, and it is all on one layer. So I selected the lasso tool just to select around the hair, and that's just the L button. For me anyway, that's what I have it set to. And then I brought up the hue saturation, and I just played around with that just to make the hair a bit darker, just to change that base tone. Now, normally, sometimes I might work on new layers on top of this layer, but I just wanted to do this quickly, so I'm working on the same layer. So just to get that darker shadows that I'm putting in now, I changed the brush mode to multiply instead of changing the layer mode, since I'm not using a new layer. So you can see that in the very top of the screen here, it says multiply, and that's the brush mode, so it's the brush that's working in the multiply in the multiply mode. So I'm just adding some shadows quickly. It's very, very rough. I mean, this is just kind of like guidelines for me. Yeah, just adding it to the hair, to the face. Still looking at my reference as a guideline there on the right. Just adding the color as well. Just note with the multiply mode, it is going to go in a lot darker. So then I switch to overlay, and those are going in with the highlights, the lighter colors. And a good thing to note with the overlay and the multiply modes is it's not actually going to completely cover what's underneath, so it's not going to actually cover the sketch that I've done. So if that was a normal mode brush, it would actually completely cover over my sketch lines, which I didn't want to do at this stage. So now I've actually gone back into normal mode because I want to add in those colors there where they weren't before. It's lighter, there's lighter colors for the skin, so I needed to do that in the normal brush mode. So I'm just basically building up my shadows. I'm color picking as I go along, and the color pick tool for me is the Alt key. I'm using a Mac. I'm not quite sure what all these other things are for PC, so I'll have a look and I'll put them up in a little on the screen there. So I just keep on color picking, just building up the colors. I'm not trying to make it too neat. Otherwise I'd just be, if I was trying to make it neat, I'd be switching to different brushes. I'd be using like a smoother brush, like an airbrush and a hard brush, and different kinds of brushes to help. But because this is a speed paint, I'm just using the one brush. It's just a standard brush. So yeah, I'm just putting in the highlights and shadows just to mark out like the frown kind of expression. So yeah, I was sort of concentrating on the elements of the expression that stand out. So the frown, you know, how the eyebrows, they go down and touch, like it looks like they're touching the eye. Yeah. It's basically, once I've got the, once I've done the multiply mode, the overlay mode on the brush, once I've done those, they basically put down my shadows and my highlights. Once that's done, it's basically just painting over it. And that's what I do for pretty much all of my speed paints. I like to have some sort of a solid base to work with. You know, just have a general sketch and then just put down a quick color just to have the whole thing filled in. Do my shadows, do my highlights in a mode that doesn't get rid of my sketch, and then go back into normal mode where I'm coloring over my sketch because I can see my guidelines, and I've also got my color guidelines too. This is the longest part of the process, and just painting. I think I spent maybe about 20 minutes, maybe between 15 and 20 minutes on each of these expressions, from sketch to finishing the color. So I guess it's, I wouldn't say it's a long time, but it's not a short time either. I mean, 20 minutes for a sketch can seem quite long for a digital sketch anyway, but that's just the way I decided to do it. When I first started doing speed paints, I wasn't brave enough to just paint on the one layer. I mean, you can see all my layers there on the right, and that's just all separate layers for each separate expression, but I'm actually just working on the one layer for this expression. And what I would have done before is just keep on adding new layers on top of the one I'm working on because I wasn't brave enough to actually just go straight in and paint on top of my painting. That's just something I think happens with time, that you just you get so used to doing this that you decide, well, it's just wasting my time adding lots of new layers, and it gets messy and can be confusing. And because I don't name my layers, which is a bad thing. It's not very organized, but I decided just to speed up my workflow that I would try and just be brave enough to just work on the one layer. And I mean, it's fine for a sketch because it doesn't really matter, I'm just practicing. But even for my full pieces, like my fully rendered pictures and non-sketches, I guess, I try to just keep to working on 1 or 2 layers. If I'm adding a new element to the picture, I might just set a new layer just in case I ruin it. But once I'm happy enough with how it's going, I'll just merge it back down. So yeah, I'm still just color picking. It's still the same stage. It's probably 80% of the entire thing is just me painting over the sketch and just adding colors, defining the forms, I guess. I'm just trying to define the hair a bit here. Still very messy, obviously. I mean, I didn't want to go into too much detail. That wasn't the whole point. The point was to capture the expression, which I think I've pretty much already done at this stage. It's just I'm trying to make it look nice. I can't help it. Yep, so I'm just adding some highlights. I mean, it's already pretty much done. I might actually do a proper tutorial one day, real time, as I go along. Just let me know in the comments if it's something you're interested in. So here I'm selecting the levels. It's basically just changing the contrast, trying to brighten up a bit. And here I've used the new layer because I'm putting a color. It's actually a color layer, so I'm just adding a little bit of warmth to the face. I'm just adding a little bit of pink to the cheeks, and also a little bit blue and purple to the hair, just to make it look a little bit different. And then I'm just checking to see how it looks, and then I just merge it back down again once I'm happy enough with how it looks. And that's pretty much it. That's just my basic method of doing speed paints. I do it for every single one of them, and not much changes from that. It's the quickest way I know how to do it. I'm sure that will change in the future if I figure out different ways, but for now it's working for me, and hopefully it can help someone else. Just seeing me do it that way and just explaining quickly what my steps are, you know, from start to finish. I mean, I know it's not very detailed because that's a very, very quick explanation of what I do, and because it's not real time as well, it's a bit sped up. It's hard to really see what I'm doing, but hopefully it will help. And like I said, I can do a proper real-time voiceover tutorial on how I approach speed paints, but it would be a long one. It would probably be an hour or so. So just let me know. I mean, it would take a lot of time for me to do, so let me know if anyone would actually be interested. And yeah, I'll definitely consider it. But I do have another tutorial that I need to record today, or maybe even tomorrow, on how I colour in my sketches, my pencil sketches in Photoshop. So I'll be doing that, and that'll take quite a bit of time too. So I'm trying to do so many videos, and it's pretty difficult because I don't really know if people are massively interested, but you know, I said I would do it. I keep saying I'll do it, so I will. Anyway, I hope this video was useful and that you guys like it. Let me know, give it a thumbs up if you did, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!